Hello. Hello. Hi everybody. Welcome to the session. Thank you for taking your time and sitting down here and resting your feet and listening to us for 10 minutes. My name's Nick. My colleague here, Ailey, and we're going to talk to you a little bit, not too much about ROI. This is a bit of a dry subject. The main presentation is really going to be Ailey taking you through an example of where we have managed, or she personally has managed to achieve ROI. We work with local authorities mainly, so we've got quite a bit of experience of helping a large body get ROI from training, more specifically our e-learning and online training. Before I start, just out of interest, just show of hands, does everybody know what ROI stands for? If you keep them up, has anybody demonstrated ROI? Have anybody managed to achieve ROI through training and delivering the training program? Great, can you come and do my presentation for me, please? So yeah, I think that one of the issues that we find, we work in the training sector, we deal with large organisations, and training is quite difficult. It can be quite difficult to get an ROI from. It's not a simple financial equation where you pay £1 on something and you get £3 back. It can be, but invariably it isn't. You've got an ROI of how to keep your workforce happy, or an ROI of your support staff on the help desk having a good training. But I think I'm probably preaching to the converted in the room that you're all probably learning professionals and recognise the value in learning. And as an organisation, if you value learning and you look after your employees and you look after your customers, then you're a better place to work for, and you find it easier to retain staff and easier to recruit staff, and you perhaps lose less staff. So as a business, as an organisation, when you're probably trying to put together a business case for training funds, there is always, as a business, a pound, a financial value to training, and it's just how the business calculate that. So one of the things that we always recommend to our training managers and workforce development managers is if you're looking to get a budget for training and looking to training, figure out the business objective and try and get the business owners or the business leaders to give you a value. And an example could be, if on the help desk, for example, what is the value of a good help desk within an organisation? It might be £100,000 revenue a year to provide customers with a good service. So people man the help desk. What percentage of that help desk is around good training? They say, well, 20% of people who sit on that help desk, if they're trained well, 20% of that is a good help desk response. So you could say, well, 20% of 1,000, 10,000, or whatever the number is your target, that you can say, right, I've spent this much money on training and we've delivered to this outcome, and then you can give a financial ROI. Because business leaders, they don't want to know about the details, they want to know how much it's going to cost and what they're getting back from it, and that is a big challenge. So, as I say, today we're not going to talk about ROI, and we are going to talk about ROI, that's why you're here. That's wrong, yeah. We can talk about sheep and camels and something completely different. No, we are going to talk about ROI, but we're not going to go through ROI models, and because I've sat through those presentations and they are very dull in my opinion. But what we're really going to do is share some truths with you through a real life example of somebody who is potentially in the same position as some of you sitting here, who's trying to work with a larger organisation to convince them to do something, and having a few obstacles and difficulties on the way, and it's hopefully something that will show you that it is worth sticking with and it is worth working with. Hopefully there'll be some thought-provoking bits of information we're going to pass on to you that you might want to ask some questions. But Ailey really is going to do the main bulk of the work, so I'm going to hand over to her very shortly. And in the end, we thought it might be useful. So this is a case study that Ailey's going to present of a real life example. But what is a return on investment on training? What is it you're trying to achieve? We can share some examples. We work not just with local authorities, we work with charities, we work with schools, and each one of them will have a different take on what success or what that objective is, and then how they measure their ROI against that, or those may differ quite dramatically. So at the end, I could just quickly run through a few examples of real life ROIs of a couple of our customers, not going down into the details of the pounds and the pence, but just the concept of what they're trying to achieve. So, no further ado, I shall hand over to my colleague Ailey. Ailey?
Hello, you can hear me. I thought I had the quieter mic, it sounds like I've got the louder one. Okay, I'm Ailey. I've joined Me Learning just about 2 months ago, coming from a very large inner London local authority. So the purpose of my part of the presentation is just to give you just an example of the experience that I had trying to establish e-learning provision in a large London local authority with a particularly large workforce which grew and grew and grew. So really it's just some highlights from that journey. So it started in 2009. I joined the local authority, which I'm going to do my best not to mention, and I walked into an organisation that had silos of training everywhere. It had paper-based processes. It had hard copy brochures with typos that went out of date a week after the publication. And generally my impression of it was all everywhere, a bit chaotic. My task was to look at streamlining training and development provision to create an integrated service. Sounds easy, it wasn't. It was really hard for the reasons that many of the service heads were very precious about their service and their budgets and their staff. So we started on a bit of a journey. So moving forward, only to 2011, we started to hear a bit more about budgets, budget cuts, savings targets. So they were there. We had self-service popped up. Everyone to do self-service, so we need online booking provision. That's the way we're going to go. Less resource, put it all online. We want a paperless office. So that was about reorganisation, moving the workforce, changes for the workforce. A one-stop shop for training. So we had silos everywhere. Now we want an online system, a one-stop shop. Evaluation. We wanted to have accurate training data. They wanted to know what was being delivered, who was attending what, bums on seats really. That was kind of where it was at. So moving forward again to 2014, had the message of extending the delivery. So the service was primarily focused on one department. We then had to reach out to the workforce in another department. So again, we didn't grow in terms of service size. In fact, we had budgets and saving targets, so the pressure was on to reduce the size of the service. Meantime though, we had to extend our service to a whole workforce, which was adult social care. We were already supporting children's social care, but that included the multi-agency partnership. So health colleagues, voluntary and community sector colleagues. Don't know if this is familiar to anyone, but that's the story. Then we wanted CPD records. So we had lists of people attending training. Now I want a record PDF, I want it today. I've got an inspector coming in, I might be from an early years setting. Can you tell me what training my staff's attended? Have they attended safeguarding training? How are we going to do that? Going through all our records. Then it was a shift. So we were focused on gathering training data. We could do that accurately, so we were quite proud of that. So what? They didn't want to know. They wanted to know what impact was the resource that we were giving for training really making a difference in terms of the workforce and the service. So that was the pressure, that was the kind of the focus in 2014. Moving on to 2015, it does end. We don't go all the way up until 2017, we do get there. But again, I just wanted to highlight, we extended the service reach even further. We had to then work, the service had to provide training and development to the workforce in a neighbouring borough. So these are some of the things that were happening at that time. We became a shared staffing arrangement. So one service from one department, which was probably, we used to estimate that the workforce was around 8,000 people, including the partnership workforce. That was then extended to another departmental workforce, and it was then extended to another neighbouring borough's workforce. So you can imagine the pressure. Level of demand increased. We had different service management teams. Each of them had their own objectives, each of them very clear what they needed and what they needed right now. So the demands for training went up sky high. Everyone wanted everything yesterday, so the pressure was on. Deadlines, all sorts of things. And at the same time, you can see even bigger budget cuts and increased savings targets. So I had to come up with a solution. By then I was head of training and development service. Things were really on top. If people have worked in local authority with all the savings and the targets, it can feel really pressurised. You have to worry about your staff, their well-being, their jobs, their capacity, all those sorts of things. So the solution, e-learning. We already had a small offer of e-learning. So it wasn't like, hey, we're just going to bring in e-learning. It was more about, let's extend the offer to support the classroom-based training offer. Wandsworth, I mentioned it, didn't mean to, fail, was very precious about classroom-based training. And so this was quite a new thing. And yes, they were okay to have a little snippet of e-learning, but that was it. That's what we were comfortable with. We'd done classroom-based training for years and years, and that's what worked. So that was my solution. By this time, I was feeling optimistic. I thought this was the way forward. This is what the response was. Resistance. Big resistance. Not now. We don't like it. Doesn't work. We haven't got time to think about that now. We've got the savings, the budget targets, but everything else. But meantime, can you just carry on delivering a really comprehensive offer of training for our expanding workforce? How was I feeling? Like that. I was incredibly frustrated. It was a really challenging time because I had so many demands, my team had so many demands. What could I do? I thought this was the solution. I thought it could be a quick win. Little did I know. This is what people told me. I'm not going to read them out. Staff don't like it. Staff don't like e-learning. We don't learn anything with e-learning, so there was a lot of resistance. People taking it. Done? Yeah? That was the feeling. Obviously, I didn't agree. It wasn't correct. It was just what people had assumed. So, these are the benefits, and this slide is just purposely trying to capture some of the benefits. Again, I'm not going to read them out, but I think it's quite clear. There's lots of photos. Just holding. Ready? So, what happened? It took me nearly a year from the first business case to say I wanted to extend the e-learning offer to the workforce. For me, that was a really ridiculous time frame. That was resistance from SMT, resistance from my own colleagues, resistance from members of my own service saying this isn't going to work. Whether that was to do with people feeling threatened about losing their jobs, things like that, I can understand that some people were feeling that way. So, I think in terms of what we did, I got agreement, but agreement evolved having to sit with financial control for a London authority in my office and really say, look, we have to do this. But I managed, I was persistent. I had knockback after knockback after knockback. And when I think about it, it wasn't an extensively massive contract. It was just that we were going to spend some money on e-learning, which is what we needed. The purpose for the business case, the way I got it through, was that, yes, although most of the workforce was really happy with classroom-based training, we weren't reaching everyone. We had a whole department of housing staff. Their assistant director had clearly informed me under no circumstances would they be attending classroom-based learning. We need e-learning. That would be the way forward for that workforce group. And in addition to that, we had a large number of the workforce that won't and couldn't access classroom-based training. So we needed to reach out and extend our service. So the good news is I managed to get it through. We commissioned 25 e-learning courses, and after 1 year, we had 3,658 course completions. We had a lot of people registering to do e-learning, but these were actual course completions where they got their certificate. I think that was good news, given that it was a whole new way of working and clear evidence that it was something that the workforce wanted and valued. Just to say, you can have a look at the evaluations, very positive after 1 year, so I saw that as a success story, given all the pressure it took, and the grey hairs to get there. Just to break it down a little bit further, I thought it would just to give you an example of classroom-based training, the costs associated with that, and I've got another slide following which just breaks down the costs associated with an e-learning course of a similar subject matter. So the focus is safeguarding, and so in a 1 year period, we were used to delivering a classroom-based training program that might have tackled something, a particular subject, once or twice a year. Safeguarding was a particular a statutory requirement of training. So for this particular course that I've sampled, we aim to put on 6 one-day sessions a year. So 18 places per session. If we were successful at filling all of those places, which would give us a total of 108 learners a year. The cost of that I've calculated, which doesn't include training venues, that's really sort of trainer costs, admin time and all that kind of stuff that I haven't included, was approximately sort of 5k. So I did a calculation, worked out about £49 per learner. That's okay, we were delivering a training course, yes, as a service, we were delivering safeguarding. So we could say, yeah, tick, that's what we were doing. In reality though, were we reaching the whole, 108 of the whole wide workforce, 108 staff a year? Was that really effective? Were we really upskilling the workforce in safeguarding? Not really. So just as a comparison, if we're just looking at e-learning, we commissioned one e-learning course. It cost £2,000. We had unlimited users. And in year 1, we had 743 staff doing this particular course. So they completed that. Compared to 108 just doing the classroom-based. And as a calculation, in comparison, the cost to the organisation was £2.69 per learner. Really straightforward. It didn't replace classroom-based, but it was a very clear model that meant that we could reach more people quickly who were prepared to do e-learning. And as you can see, 743 people did it. So I thought that was very good. Was it worth it in the end? Yes, it was. It was really difficult for me, but that was just my experience in my local authority. I often sort of used to ask the question to myself, really, how much did it really cost the organisation with a head of service having endless meetings, doing endless business cases, trying to get agreement for one contract? Was that cost effective, or could we have just made a decision more quickly, gone with it, and we probably would have trained up, a large number of the workforce for that period? So just thinking about those things, I was persistent, and I did in the end get it, but it was difficult. So it was worth it. And this slide really, this is my final slide, but I just thought, I know there's quite a lot there, but what I aim to capture here is the benefits to the learner, the service, and the organisation. So some quite helpful points there. I think we could probably, if we're all in learning and development, we want to work for an organisation that promotes learning. We know that it's helpful in terms of recruiting and retaining staff. We know that it can have a positive impact on staff morale, therefore leading to better service user experiences. Just to end my bit, the news is I left the organisation 2 months ago to join this company, Me Learning. But the news is that they're going to extend their contract for another 2 years, which will give them a very full offer of e-learning training for their workforce, which again will complement a very full offer of classroom-based training. So that's just a quick journey that I wanted to share with you, just to kind of say that actually it's complementary, it works well. Where you hear people saying it doesn't, this is evidence that actually the workforce really, really benefited from it and wanted it. So I'm going to hand back to Nick.
Thanks, Ailey. You can clap if you like, unless somebody's trying to. You won't clap at my next bit, so you might as well clap now. So yeah, just really wrapping up the last couple of minutes. I think that was a really good example of return on investment, where it's clearly demonstrated that the benefits there are, the cost per head, a dramatic reduction in the cost per head of training, the reach, the scalability. Every single slide that Ailey put up, there was a little pair of scissors in the corner with budget cuts. Local authorities, budget cuts. But despite having less money, managed to still deliver a return on investment, which was quite clearly demonstrable. A couple of others just before I close that may or may not be of any interest to you. As I said at the beginning, we work with local authorities. I made the mistake 7 or 8 years ago when a local authority bought some e-learning from me of saying, oh, that's going to save you money in the classroom then, isn't it, as a kind of alien. He said, oh, it's nothing to do with that. And I said, well, what's it about then? He said, it's data quality. We've got social workers keying information into adult and children case management systems, and they haven't been properly trained on these systems, and the data is rubbish. We've got 3 people, 1 person in there 3 times, and we have to put statutory returns to the government every month, and we've got bad data. And the cost to them was significant. So really, it was nothing really about saving money, it was getting their data correct. So that's another example of a return. And as I said at the beginning, it varies from organisations. We deal with schools, quite a lot of schools. Ofsted inspections, safeguarding, it's a big issue. All schools want to be excellent, outstanding. So you talk to a school and their ROI may be, we need to get an outstanding Ofsted inspection, and we need to pass our safeguarding requirements. So we need, obviously our safeguarding officer needs to have all the policies and to work with the local authority, but we need to make sure our staff are properly trained and understand issues around safeguarding and child protection. And a half a day inset once a term may not be enough. So for them it's around compliance and Ofsted in particular. And I think this is my final one, non-profit. So we deal with quite a lot of charities. Charities might have a small number of employees, but a large number of volunteers who work for them. And one of the challenges they have, clearly, if you're dealing with an extended organisation, is how do you reach the mums and the dads and the people who are doing it for nothing in the evenings and at the weekends, and have got jobs, who don't want to come to a classroom training session, but you need to make sure they understand. They might be dealing with vulnerable adults, vulnerable children. They need to understand what they can and can't do, and what their limits are, and what's expected of them from their organisation. So a return on investment for a non-profit organisation may well be, we need to ensure that our volunteers are fully aware and supported, and having an ROI based around that might be their ROI. So I think that's my last slide. No, I lied. There was one further slide. So I guess in summary, I think the point, we didn't really want to stand here for 25 minutes and bore you to death with ROI calculations. You go on the internet, there's loads of them there. There's lots of great resources. What we wanted to do really was share with you we're a commercial business, and we work, as I say, within these various sectors, and what we see as an ROI. And I think the takeaway I would say for you is to think of what's appropriate to you. What is your objective? What are you trying to achieve? And then you need some money to achieve that. The people who own your business will want to know what they're going to get back for it, and you need to probably talk to them in that kind of language. So you need to figure out what's the monetary value, because that's what business owners are typically interested in. What is the monetary return? And you need to kind of get that right, and then with that in place, you can then it's just a case of measuring it properly and using Kirkpatrick models and so forth to measure the training that you're doing, and then you should be able to generate a good business case and to generate a good return on investment. So I don't know if that's what you're expecting. A bit tough if you weren't, because it's finished now, but at least you've had a bit of a rest, haven't you? Does anybody have any questions for myself or my colleague Ailey? Great, that's good news. Well, thank you very much for your time. If you want to talk to us further, we're literally just over there, stand 660. Yeah, somewhere over there. Yeah, stand 6. So if you want to come and chat to us, we're more than happy to talk to you. And thank you very much for your time.